We want to share the 5 tips to staying mentally healthy when buying or selling. And you probably know the statistics are horrific when people are buying or selling real estate as far as the stress that puts on them. I mean, people often will say they would rather spend a night in jail rather than having to go through the process again.
First, I think we all have to acknowledge moving is considered one of the top 5 stressors in life.
Yep.
So let's talk about them one at a time.
Welcome to the Jennifer J. Hammond Podcast. Jennifer is a licensed realtor, educator, speaker, and best-selling author. Jennifer's goal is to help you find your yay in every day.
Hello. This is Jennifer J. Hammond. And I'm so excited. I have a guest here today who's going to help us say yay more today. We're going to talk about the 5 tips to staying mentally healthy when buying or selling real estate. So my next guest here, she is Sonja Wasden, is a suicide survivor. And I say that kind of fast, but I want to make sure that we're sensitive to that. And also she has an award-winning book, An Impossible Life is a Lighthouse of Hope. And again, I know every one of us go through things that are just unimaginable, and it's amazing. I want to make sure we don't compare each other too much, but also hope everything we can possibly learn from you, Sonja. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
Well, thank you. And thank you for being so open to share your story and your journey. So today we want to share the 5 tips to staying mentally healthy when buying or selling. And you probably know the statistics are horrific when people are buying or selling real estate as far as the stress that puts on them. I mean, people often will say they would rather spend a night in jail rather than having to go through the process again. And even just the moving process is so stressful for people. So, and right now we're in the middle of 2022. So if you're listening to another time, the middle of 2022, interest rates are rising. People are trying to, should I buy? Should I sell? And now people are getting really stuck on the maybe, and it's more scary than it's ever been. Inflation seems to keep rising. And if you ever watch the news, it seems to have so many negative headlines. So let's talk about 5 ways to stay mentally healthy during this crazy process of buying or selling.
Okay, let's do it. And first, I think we all have to acknowledge moving is considered one of the top 5 stressors in life.
Yep.
So let's talk about them one at a time. One is mentally prepare yourself by talking to experts. Some people feel like they have to do it all on their own, but reaching out to experts really can help give you the knowledge and kind of calm those nerves. And so that's the number one thing that I say is talk to the experts, and don't just talk to one. I always suggest talk to at least 2 or 3, take notes, and then use your logic mind, not emotion mind, to look through those notes and advice.
I love that. Thank you for saying that, because I always talk about building your yay team, and every person on your team should be somebody who helps you say yay every day. And one of the reasons, like even as a real estate agent, I always ask people, please ask me questions, and then don't hesitate to ask me that same question again if you still don't understand it, because that's okay. It's okay not to understand it. And just like when you're looking at mortgages, it can be very confusing because you're not comparing apples to apples on 2 different mortgages. So you need to talk to multiple people. And so you have certainty, because again, the worst thing is to be stuck on that maybe and be confused. So thank you for saying that. Number 1, I definitely agree. You have to talk to experts. And
Yeah, go ahead.
If you're asking questions, ask all the questions and don't be afraid.
Yes. So number 1 is mentally preparation, talking to experts. Number 2, you kind of brought up going into real estate agents, eliminate unnecessary stress by finding the right real estate agent. Yay! So that is number 2. And you have control over that. There's a lot of things in buying a home or in moving that things go wrong. Things don't always go the right way. They're kind of out of your control. But eliminating unnecessary stresses or eliminating those stresses that you do have control over. So picking the right real estate, interviewing them, even possibly don't get into a binding contract with them. So if that isn't working out, that you can't change.
Well, and I was going to say, as a licensed real estate agent, one of the things I would tell you is, number one, I have 17 questions that I give away for free. You can go to my website at jenniferjhammond.com and get that for free. 17 questions, interview your real estate agent and make sure you're on the same page with them. Because if it's not, it's like any other relationship. You want to make sure it's a good relationship and it's a healthy relationship for you. And the only person who really knows that for sure is you. No one else should push you or force you or make you feel uncomfortable because they're trying to get you to use your cousin's brother, sister, who's a licensed realtor and just needs a deal so desperately. I mean, I've heard so many of those and I'm like, oh, that just makes me cringe to think, why are you throwing this person business if it's not the right fit for you when it's already so mentally challenging and so stressful as a process? Make sure you have somebody you're really comfortable with. So I agree, interview and get the right realtor for you.
Yeah. And I love what you said there is that not just what skills they can bring you, but is that personality jiving? Because we all have different personality types and you've got to really know how to communicate with them and feel comfortable. So I love that you brought that up.
And I love that you said that because the communication part of it was something I learned pretty early in my career, because now I've been doing it for 25 years. And I remember I made some, I want to say, mistakes when I first was starting, because back then it was also not everybody text messaged and not everybody did email. But I also realized that not everybody liked a phone call. And so then I realized that depending on who they were, some people preferred a phone call, some people preferred an email, some people preferred a text message. And one of the things it's on my list when I first sit down with a new client is, how would you prefer to be communicated with?
Yeah, love it. Love it.
It's important because communication is key, but it has to be on the right way. Like if you like, and I've had people who do that, who I say, if I'm busy, I really need you to text message me. And they keep calling me. And I'm like, no, I really need you to text message me. So it is really important that you have that open communication and you feel safe asking the uncomfortable questions, because around money, finances, home, marriage, lifestyle, all of that, there's a lot of uncomfortable questions. So you have to have a real estate agent that you feel comfortable with. So well done. I like number 2.
Okay. And actually what you're talking about goes right into number 3. Maintaining healthy relationships by avoiding emotional conflicts. Easier said than done. But think about this. When you have a good rapport, first with your real estate agent, and then as negotiations go with the buyer or the seller, whichever one that you're on, if you can kind of not let your emotions get in the way and keep a good rapport, studies show that when that happens and you go along the process, there's always snags, right?
Right.
Especially during when they start inspecting homes or things pop up. So, or else maybe something in your plans of your loans not coming through, you have to wait a week or something. If you have maintained a healthy relationship and a good rapport, people will work with you much more than if you've gotten these emotional dramas. Then it's like, no, we're closing on this day or the deal's off, or, oh, that inspection. And then it becomes the battle of wills. So maintaining those good relationships. And then I just want to add on to that. When people are buying or selling real estate, a lot of times it's a divorce, someone died, it's your first time home buyer, it's a marriage. So you also want to try to keep those relationships healthy too, because buying and selling real estate is so stressful. And one tip I have around that is validating each other's feelings. So before you say, no, listen to me, listen to them first and say, I can see where you're coming. I see your point. I see it different. Can you listen? Are you willing to hear me out? So just trying to maintain those relationships without big emotions.
Absolutely. And I agree with you in the fact that really understanding someone else's viewpoint, I think, is one of the keys to my success. Is, even as real estate agent to real estate agent, that's one of the first things I ask is, what is it that the seller or what is it that the buyer is looking for? And let's make sure, if we can find out if there's anything that we need to be aware of, or just understanding the other viewpoints, because that is it could potentially be a huge problem, but it also can be the secret that makes that very specific situation successful. And it's all sorts of aspects. And you mentioned like the home inspection. It's also if there's a problem with the loan, or there's a problem with the appraiser, or whatever that is, being able to continue to communicate through it, no matter how uncomfortable it is, no matter how much you might not at first understand the other viewpoint. I would say one of the principles there is seek first to understand, and try to keep your judgment in, like trying to judge somebody, well, that's stupid, or but try to keep that in check, because maybe you haven't heard the whole story. You've only heard a piece of it. Someone else could be uncomfortable or feeling unsafe to tell you, well, actually, this is a divorce situation. Like you said, it could be a divorce and it's really sensitive, but they haven't told anybody. That's why they're selling. So be able to look at any situation from someone else's viewpoint. I think that is a fantastic tip for getting through buying and selling.
Yes. And I love what you're saying. And I just wanted to add on that usually if you're starting to feel those emotions, take some deep breaths, take some time before you react, before you send that text, before you send that email. Let your emotions calm down so you can operate from a place of wise mind and not emotion mind. So just take a minute and you'll save yourself a lot of headache. So that's why I like what you said about looking at the other person's point of view.
Thank you. Okay, so we have number 1, number 2, number 3. So what's number 4 on our
Okay, number 4 is how to deal with sticky thoughts. Okay, when you are buying and selling real estate, we all have sticky thoughts, but they really, really come full blown. Second guessing. Is this the right home? Is this not the right home? Did I ask, the asking price of the house, and then you negotiated it and you came to an agreement? Oh, could have I gotten more? Or the buyer, am I paying too much? Or the sticky thoughts of, I don't know, this is risky buying a home. I'm a first-time home buyer. No, I shouldn't be doing this. So you have all these sticky thoughts. And so what my tip is, dealing with those sticky thoughts as you go through the buying or selling process, is to embrace the process of buying a home. And when the sticky thought comes, you don't push them away, because they're going to come knocking harder. But you don't engage with them either. So you've got to have trust in yourself and confidence. So when that sticky thought comes, what therapists have taught is you say, oh, I notice I'm having a sticky thought. And then you go right back to what you're doing. And then the sticky thought comes again. And you say, oh, I notice I'm having a sticky thought about my home inspection. Oh, thank you so much for being concerned about me. I've got it covered. Go right back to what you're doing. You're having a sticky thought of, I probably shouldn't buy that home. I should have looked more. Oh, I'm having a sticky thought. You're welcome to be here. And then you go back what you're doing. So you don't push them away. You invite them to be there, but you don't engage in a conversation just by calling them out, allowing them to reside within you, and then focusing your attention, if you're cooking, right back to cooking. And if you repeat that process, those sticky thoughts will go away.
And so go ahead and define for us with sticky thoughts. I don't think I've ever heard that term before.
So sticky thoughts are kind of like obsessive thoughts. We all have them, or negative thoughts that come into your mind. And when you're home buying, there's a lot of second guessing that sometimes goes around. Yeah. And so sticky thoughts are things that everybody has, of the home inspection, worry thoughts, negative thoughts, yeah, obsessive thoughts, reoccurring thoughts. They kind of like stick to you, and then they bring the stress up. And you start to get into emotion mind and maybe not starting to react in wise mind.
Right, right. And I think that that's so important. I think I've never heard that term before, but it is once you start to get those negative thoughts and you start to second guess. And this is the market where that is so prevalent. People are so fear-based and afraid because, again, they're just getting so much misinformation or conflicting information. I want to say misinformation, but also conflicting information. One source is saying this and one source is saying that, and it's really confusing. And so, yeah, going and finding out the truth about stuff and also not letting it ruin your day, especially when they're negative thoughts, I think is really important. So I know we're running out of time. I want to make sure we get to 5. So what is number 5?
Okay, 5 is on good. It's radical acceptance.
Yay.
Radically accept the adventure of buying a home. You guys, this is an exciting thing. It's not, we've talked about some of the stressors that come with it and that it's difficult, but at the end of the day, buying or selling real estate for an investment or where you're going to live, it is an adventure. It is exciting and it is a good use of your money. It is a hard asset. And so even if the market goes up and down, if you just write it out, your real estate will appreciate. So be calm, radically accept all those difficulties that you have in buying and selling a home, but realize this is an adventure. Get excited.
Yes. Yay! Yay! I think it's so important that you do that and realizing that it's okay to be ready for whatever the unexpected is going to happen. And so often, I remember when I was brand new in real estate, I remember something happened and I said, oh gosh, I just want a deal that doesn't have any issues. And it was so funny. I had an older guy who'd been in real estate for like 40 years. And he looked at me and he just laughed at me. And he said, what would be your job? What would you do if there were no issues? Because all we do is solve problems. As a real estate agent, that's what we're here for, is we consult and we bring you through this process. But it wouldn't mean anything if there weren't some problems, if it weren't something that we were helping you through. And it was so funny. It really gave me that cognition of realizing, oh, I am extremely valuable because I'm the person that stays calm in the storm. I'm the person that goes, okay, well, we have options. It's A, B, or C. Which one would you like? Mm-hmm. And I realized it is. And it's almost like if you've also ever heard an entrepreneur say, I love that problem. I love that problem. Just like you think about taxis, and people used to be like, oh, there's so many things they disliked about taxis. And then all of a sudden an entire industry came to solve that, Uber and Lyft and all these others. And you realize you just have to love that uncomfortableness and love that adventure. So I love number 5. That's great. Yay! So I want people to know, how do they get a hold of you if they want to find out more about you?
Yeah, they can go to sonjawasden.com, or they can go to Amazon to buy my award-winning book, An Impossible Life. Yay! Yay! And hopefully it can give you hope and encouragement that, you know what, mental health can cause you to grow. It's just a part of life's journey, and that you can come out stronger.
I agree so much. And I love that you're on the show today. And so, as I said, every time I always like to make sure that we end with a yay. And so I'm going to ask you to say yay with me. Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Yay! Hi, I'm Jack Canfield. You may know me as the co-author of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. And if you want more help in getting from where you are to where you want to be, I want to encourage you to listen to the Jennifer Hammond Show.